Story continues with respect to kind of a dual dynamic that is creating a very strong housing market. On the supply side, active listings are extremely low. That's been a dynamic that has made finding new homes very challenging for buyers. On the flip side of it, it's made it very attractive and a great time to be a seller. In some ways, I think that this is a time to even not to be afraid of days on market, that if you have a home to sell and you have some flexibility there, putting the property on the market, making sure it gets fully seasoned and exposed to the market, and really reaching for stretch pricing is something that is a very feasible strategy today, and in many cases results in an outcome that is above market, if not significantly above market. We've all seen interest rates head north slightly over the past, call it 6 months or so. Hasn't been a big surprise, and in the grand scheme of things, interest rates are still extremely low. This said, there does seem to be some urgency in terms of buyers wanting to lock in interest rates, especially if they're going into housing that they see themselves in for a very long time. And so with the kind of lopsided market of being very easy to sell, very tough to buy, one dynamic that many property owners are facing is they're maybe a trade buyer, where they're selling their property and they want to get into a bigger home, or perhaps they want to downsize, and they're trying to complete those two transactions at the same time. And so there are a number of strategies for doing this. It is a challenging time to execute that approach, but there are a number of sound strategies that work, such as bridge loans or seller leasebacks to give you more time to find a property, or even contingent sales based upon the seller's ability to find a new property. I think a natural thing to wonder when the cycle is going to come to an end. But it's also a thing that I think anyone would tell you is very hard to predict. And oftentimes the things that affect markets are not the fundamentals that people look at every day. It's something outside that sphere of everyday data that happens that changes things. Some great news stories have been coming out. One I saw last week, and I'll put the links in the video below, is talking about lending and how, while there are great rates out there, that it has been a bit of a have and have-nots world of loans being really dominated by A-credit borrowers. And so if you're not a A-credit borrower, with the credit scores to show it, it can be challenging to get a loan. And so while there's a lot of activity, it's primarily those premium borrowers. And then another interesting article that came out today in the Wall Street Journal talks about how pension funds and large institutional investors are buying up residential properties. That tends not to be happening a lot in California. We have high cost of living here for other reasons, but if you look across the country, some of the more affordable Sunbelt regions, that is absolutely the case, where a new participant has entered the market and is adding further strength to the market, further demand, buoying prices, and that's the institutional buyer who's buying, in many cases, entire tracts of homes and simply renting those out to renters. And there's a lot of benefits. I won't get into all of them here, but it's a model that's picking up steam. Some have been in it a decade or more, and it's really coming into its own, that asset class. That's for rent single-family housing. And then the last article I'll mention is an article on CNBC. It was interesting. It was talking about this real estate market today is no time for amateurs. And I think it's true. In the real estate industry, typically when you start out, you spend a lot of time working with buyers. As you get more established, you spend a lot more time working with sellers, and that's kind of considered the the more secure side of the business if you have a lot of seller clients. And so if you're out there and the bulk of your business is representing buyers, it's tough sledding right now, because really most properties have multiple offers in the neighborhood of low single digit up to dozens of offers. And if that's your sole focus, that can be a very tough world to navigate. And so anyway, I hope these tips were helpful and they provide a little glimpse into what's going on today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. As I've said in the past, it's never too early to start your plan. I'm never too busy to help, and I look forward to a chance to speak with you about helping you meet your particular real estate goals, whether that's buying, selling, or investing anywhere in South Orange County.